Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope you guys are all having a good evening, had a good day and everything. Have a quick video here that I want to touch on for you guys. Another quick one. This one, while I did come across it in my studies and in my work life, if anything, this particular concept is pretty pertinent in my professional life. But I initially came across it during my studies for cybersecurity and IT management. And so it's easy to think that this is mainly, if not exclusively, an infosec concept, but I would say this is more of a business concept, if not really just a life concept. Like, this is literally anything when it comes to problem solving. In this video, we're going to quickly cover RCA, or root cause analysis. Again, it's very simple. It's just layer of problem solving, essentially. But the formal definition of root cause analysis is the systematic process for identifying the underlying cause or causes of a problem. Instead of simply addressing the immediate issue or putting a band-aid on it, RCA aims to uncover the root of the problem to ensure it doesn't happen again. So it essentially tackles that whole concept of you're treating the symptom, not the illness type of thing. Like, you don't want to necessarily look at everything at face value when it comes to a problem emerging, because you may solve something temporarily, but then the day after that, a few days after that, maybe a few weeks after that, more or less the same situation comes up, or a situation with the same person comes up, or the same situation with the same piece of technology comes up, and you're like, what is going on? Chances are you haven't solved the root problem. We're going to touch on just a few main benefits and key points of RCA that I wanted to notate, because again, this is pretty pertinent to my professional life. The first thing I want to touch on is preventing reoccurrence. Again, this is pretty much the main goal of RCA in general. I can personally speak to this. And the primary goal of RCA is to prevent an issue or different versions of the same issue from rearing their ugly head over and over and over again. And by identifying and addressing the root cause, you also implement solutions that tackle the problem at the source, which also ends up making it time effective. By making something time effective, this leads to our second point: usually make something cost effective. Cost efficiency is key in pretty much business through and through. The whole thing with business is you're trying to mitigate how much money has to come out of your pocket, but maximize how much money can be put into your pocket at the same time. And RCA is an easy way for there to be what's called a money hemorrhage, like your company's hemorrhaging money, or at the very least, you're spending more money than necessary, because you may be investing more time and money into a problem that could have been solved a long time ago, but because you don't necessarily know how to go about identifying the root of the issue, you keep going about it again and again and again. You assign people to the same type of tasks again and again and again. These are people that you're paying, so you're paying them money to do the same thing again and again and again, which ultimately leads to an issue with cost efficiency, which is something corporations and even on the individual level, something that we as people do not want. By dealing with the root cause, instead of dealing repeatedly with fixing the symptoms, again, fixing the symptoms, not the issue, you reduce the need for ongoing repairs or temporary fixes. You kind of have to think of it as an investment for the long term. So yeah, something may be more work in the short term, but then you're like, I never have to look at this again, or at the very least, I don't have to look at this for the next 6 months to maybe even a couple years. And I would much rather it be a pain in my butt now than for me to deal with this again in a week. Then I got to hear the customers complain about it. Then I have to figure, okay, now I got to get somebody else on it. And then I thought they solved it, just to find out again some weeks later they didn't solve it. And now you're in a cycle that you have to make more of a point after spending so much more time and money to break and fix. This ultimately leads to, and I kind of just touched on it, improving the workflows and processes related to your work. RCA often reveals weaknesses in different processes, systems, workflows, and behaviors that can and ultimately be improved and can prevent this type of issue from occurring in the first place. And by addressing those type of weaknesses, organizations can enhance their overall operations, which ultimately leads to better performance and the bottom line of any and all corporation and business operation, better or higher customer satisfaction. Your customers are happier, brand loyalty will be more consistent. You may attract more clientele because your reputation will go up, which leads to more money. Ultimately, everyone's happy, or at least that's the idea. those are the three details that really stuck out to me with this subject that I wanted to touch on, because again, this is a cornerstone of my job. It's one of the first things that I do with my job. Whenever like our tech support agents reach out to me, they say, hey, we got an email, a chat, a phone call from, you know, a contact affiliated with this account that you're responsible for. They say they need this supplies. You know, this device is not proactively ordering whatever it needs. We don't know what's going on. And I can easily be like, okay, cool. I'll just go ahead and order the supplies they need on our side and leave it at that. But it may be a deeper thing, because it's like, well, okay, they keep swapping the supplies between different devices, which causes, you know, the system to not proactively order the stuff that they need. So they're kind of messing themselves up on that side. So we can't necessarily do anything about it. Like, I still have to manually order the supplies you need, but it's on the customer side to ultimately fix the root of the issue, which is to tell their employees to stop swapping supplies, because it's messing up the function that they are coming out of pocket to pay my employer for. Another thing may be the device is offline, but we don't know why. And let's say we find out, hey, this device was initially uploaded with this IP address. Did you move it to a different location which caused the IP address to switch? Yes. Well, of course, naturally it's going to get a different IP address unless you set the IP address to static. But even if you set the IP address to static, which means it doesn't change based on location, that device is tagged or connected to a certain location. So if you change the location, maybe the order was placed, but it was sent to the wrong place. Why? Because you didn't tell us. So again, I could have just as easily ordered whatever the customer needs, but it doesn't truly solve the root of the issue, which is you guys weren't clear in your communication with us. It can be a networking issue. It can be a communications issue. It could be a technical issue in terms of, say, if we get the same cases, or we get multiple cases about the same device and the customer's fed up. I may be new to the space, but let me see what's going on here. Let me check the history, blah, 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 blah. Since I know how to read different reports and logs, I may be able to look at a log and say, hey, we keep treating this error code that has popped up multiple times, like 3-4 times. But right before that error code came up, a different one popped up and then suddenly disappeared. This issue that initially popped up like 3, 4, 5 months ago is what's causing this secondary issue to pop up. We keep causing or fixing the secondary issue, but we're not causing the root of it, which is another like damaged piece or component or something wrong inside of the device. So we need to fix that, maybe fix the secondary issue again, and then we're good. So that's what, you know, I kind of have to deal with on a day in, day out basis. That's my version of root cause analysis. It's not only, you know, like a cybersecurity incident response type of thing. Again, I don't even want to call it just a business concept nor a tech concept. It's just problem solving, but it's the most efficient form of problem solving. Being able to look through the different things hitting you in the face at the same time, which requires, you know, understanding, because not everyone's technically inclined. Not everybody is an engineer on the hardware side, nor on the software side, wherever the case is. Not everybody understands everything. So in addition to your experience and level of understanding, depending on your work or, you know, just whatever your expertise is, along with that, you'll be able to not necessarily ignore what's right in your face, but you'll think past it and you'll be like, okay, if we've had to deal with this thing 3, 4, 5 times, we have to consider that there's something that we're not seeing. We're not digging deep enough. We're not asking the right questions. Maybe we're not approaching this at the right time. And that's where you'll be able to get to the root of the issue, tackle that, maybe clean up the secondary thing one last time, and then you're good. You never have to deal with that situation ever again. It's very important that people understand that. I will say just in life, I have, you know, as the years have passed, I've become of the mindset that business concepts are so prevalent in life, which is why I make the videos that I make. Some of them I talk about business concepts, not just because I enjoy them, which I do, but I think especially the older you get, whether it's politics and other things, like as kids, we could afford to ignore them. Now I'm at a point where like politics, I have to understand what's going on. This is just one of those things that I feel like not only will make you better in the boardroom, that will make you better if you are in cybersecurity on the incident response team or anything else. This is just good to understand in general. Problem solving is, you know, just important all around as a grown person. Just wanted to touch on that. Something that, again, very pertinent, if not more or less the cornerstone of my everyday work processes and stuff like that. I'll go ahead and wrap this video up here, guys. If you have any feedback, comments, suggestions, questions, go ahead and leave those for me in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.